What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here for a brand new show for me. Is excuse me, guys. This is Black Lightning, Season 3, Episode 1. It is a book of occupation, Chapter 1, The Birth of Redbird. So, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into this. It was a good season opener. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wanted to review last season, but I got into it so late. But we're here, so let's get started. All right, you guys. So the episode, we see some of the metahumans. They are being interviewed. They're asking what their name is, and then once they ask what their name is, and it confirms it, they confirm it. Then they'll ask them the question of, what are their enhancements? And it was two of them that we saw first, and both of them said they didn't have enhancements, or they don't even know what that means. And then they asked them when did they start using green light, and both of those two people got mad. So then we see the next person that they interviewed was Jefferson Pierce, and they asked him the same questions, and then it kind of flashed back, and we see how many days he's been there. So he's been there about a total of 31 days at this point. So he's completed the the marked days, so he's free to go. So then we see that the people of Freeland, they think that Black Lightning is dead. And, they are, saying, Black Lightning is dead. But we have this new person by the name of BlackBird. And, they think that BlackBird cares more about Freeland than Black Lightning ever has. So then we see Anissa, and she is at a detainment center. She's at the detainment center. She's there with a woman named Nurse Betty. And there's another woman there named Ms. Reeks, I believe that's what her name was. And, we see it's a lot of kids in cages with the the things around their necks. It's a lot of military there. And then there's a guy that comes in, and his face is covered up, and the military starts to pull their guns on him. So they start shooting at him, and he stops it, and he like kind of like what Anissa does with hers, but I don't think was his. It's like a black cloud, that surrounded him. But then we see him; he starts shooting the people, and he's killing them. And then behind him, there's a guy named Commander Carson. What is his name? Carson Williams. He comes in. He calls him by his name of Ned, and he's like, "My name is not Ned. I'm Cyclotronic." And then we see, Cyclotronic and the commander, they get into a fight with one another. And I was looking at him like, wait a minute, does the commander have special powers? Because it looked like he was mimicking what Cyclotronic was doing. Because I'm like, do they have the same powers? Like, I just thought that was weird. So then, Carson, he actually does end up killing, Cyclotronic. So then he calls Agent Odell. I'm like, there's just something off about Agent Odell. I haven't put my finger on it, which we'll get to that a little bit later in the episode. But I'm just like, wow, there is something seriously off about Agent Odell. He's creepy for one to me. But we're going to move on. All right, and then we see Jennifer. So Jennifer's at school, and Jennifer still has not managed to get a control of her powers. And I thought with the end of last season, I thought, with her training with Gambi, I thought she was going to be able... Excuse me, y'all. I thought she was going to gain a little bit of control on her powers, but I guess her powers are just too strong for her, and then I guess she's not using them, so I'm not going to go too hard on Jennifer. So then we see Anissa, and she's with, Nurse Betty, and, Nurse Betty tells her, like, those kids are not getting out right. And Nurse Betty is just not feeling this at all because of the way that those kids are being treated, kind of like the kids with, here in the U.S., how they're being treated in cages and whatnot. But we're not going to go into that because that's not what this is about. But the kids, and then Ms. Reeks, she's telling her, like, well, that has nothing to do with you. We were just sent there to make sure that they were being treated humanely and justly. She said, you call that humane with them being in cages and having stuff around their neck? You literally call that humane. And Nurse Betty's like, you know what? I'm not feeling this. Like, I'm out. So they pull the car over, and Nurse Betty gets out of the car and dips out. And she says, Anissa, if you want to stick with that, fine. But I'm not. And then, Ms. Reed's like, so what do you want to do? Do you want to follow her? And Anissa just closed the door. I'm like, oh, God. I know Anissa is doing this for a reason, but damn. I just wish Anissa had to just turned just had just reached up to Miss Nurse, not Nurse Betty, but Miss Reese, and just punched her in her face, like, because I just want that woman to get hit so badly. Like, she pissed, and she was really getting on my nerves, to be quite honest with you. Totally honest. So then we see Carson. So he's at the police station. He's talking to Henderson, and he wants Henderson to go on television and do something for him. And Henderson is like, I am not doing what you say. Like, I don't care. And Carson's like, okay, that's fine. You don't have to do what I say. But what I can do, however, is I can fire your black ass and find someone who will do it. And you won't be able to find a job until you're at the point where you can't pay for your daughter's school, you can't pay for your mortgage, and your wife is about to leave you. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Braxton P. Hartnerbrigg. If you guys don't know who that is, go research it. Oh, God. I was so... This episode was good, but there were some scenes that really did piss me off. But it was a good episode. But we're going to keep moving. All right, so then we see Lynn and Jefferson. So they're in this room, and Lynn is horny as hell, and she's trying to get something from Jefferson. So then Agent Odell comes in there. He tells them about, that the Markovian attacked one of the detention centers, and he was trying to take the kids. And, he says basically until that threat of the Markovians is eliminated, Jefferson nor Lynn will be able to leave. And I'm like, really? So you're holding people against their will? But that's what Agent Odell has been doing since the beginning, holding people against their will. So then we see Henderson. He does have the press conference, and what it is to implement a curfew. And we see Jen and Anissa, they're listening to it. So then Anissa, she calls Gamby on her car. Like, her car is tricked out. Like, I loved her car, and I love her apartment. We're going to talk about her apartment in just a little bit. So she calls Gamby, and she tells Gamby that, they are at the detainment center. They're holding the metahumans, the kids. There's a lot of military there. And then she tells them about Cyclotronic coming there. And, she tells them about Cyclotronic's power. And then, she also tells them about Commander Carson. And, she says, she's talking about once, Jefferson comes home, that they can come up with a plan. And then we see Gamby. He's out in the woods. And, Gamby says he thinks he may have found a weakness with the ASA. So, like I said, they're just going to devise a plan. And so, speaking of Anissa's apartment, man, when Anissa got home, I think her name was Shonda, she asked her, do you want me to turn on the lights? I'm like, do you want me to turn on the lights? What? That's a high upgrade of Alexa, Google. Oh, God, I should Google. I hope she don't hear me. Yeah, Alexa and Google. Wow. And then she said, turn on the lights. Because I'm used to, with my, I have Google Home. I'm used to when I say, hey, Google. And then she'll say, please don't let her hear me. But you say, hey, Google. And then she'll respond to you. If you guys have one, you know how it is. But damn, Google don't know how to turn on my lights. I wish Google did know how to turn on my lights. Hell, I wish Alexa knew how to turn on the lights. But, and then she plays music for her. She plays Sweet Thing by Shaka Khan. So then, and then the next thing she says, Shonda, mirror, mirror. And Shonda opens up the mirror. I'm like, oh, that is badass. So she goes into like her little cave, her little cave, her little hideout, her little command center, whatever you want to call it. She goes in there and she calls Gamby. And she tells Gamby about Odell and, him not letting her mom and dad leave. And, about, helping to fight the Markovian. And Gamby says, well, when it comes down to Odell is just protecting his investment when it comes to your mom and your dad. So then he tells her that Carson is a metahuman like his dad, and he went through the vaccination. But the thing is, Carson can mimic any meta that he comes into contact with his powers, and that he needs a serum because he has sickle cell for metahumans. So then Gamby tells her he needs her to intercept this bus that has some metahumans on it that's heading toward that detention center. So then we see her. She goes into action. She's Thunder. And, she is just kicking their asses. And then she gets on the bus and she takes over the bus. And we don't know where she takes the bus. But then we see, Reverend Holt. He's talking to the reporter from Clapback News. And, he's talking to her about how it's really inhumane to take these kids away from their parents. Like, it's stupid. And I agree with him. So then she asked him about, what about BlackBird? She stole a bus, and we don't even know where those people went to. And he said, there you go again, because she's talking about, he says, she's doing good for the community. And she says she's breaking the law. He says, there you go again with that law stuff. So then, Reverend Holt, he gets up and he goes into another section of the church. And then we see Blackbird, aka Thunder, there. And, the people are in the church. He's telling her that the church right now is getting completely overcrowded and they got to figure something out. She's like, we got it. Like, we'll figure something out. So then we see, I figured it was Jennifer. At first, I was like, wow, who's this little Asian girl? But then when I saw her with the powers, I'm like, that is Jennifer. Because I'm like, those are definitely Jennifer's powers. Because I was looking, I just kept looking. I'm like, those, I didn't, when I saw her, I'm like, that's an Asian girl. I'm like, what is she doing? But then when I saw her with the powers, I'm like, I know who that is. I figured it out immediately when the powers started going around. I'm like, that is Jennifer. But I'm like, how is that Jennifer? And she's an Asian girl. But we'll get into that, and we'll get into how that was Jennifer, because I am correct. That was Jennifer, but we'll talk about it in just a little bit. So then we see Lynn, she's telling Jefferson that the people of Freeland think that Black Lightning is dead. And he says, well, in here, if he feels like Black Lightning is dead. And then, he's looking down and he can see Issa. And Issa looks good, looks fine. And, and we'll get into that a little bit more too about that. So then we see Anissa, she returns back to Gamby. And, she tells Gamby that they need to get those people out of that church because it's just becoming overcrowded. And Gamby shows, and he says, she's like, well, what is it that you want to show me? So he plays this footage where this guy is telling his boss that another person was eaten by a leopard. And then he shows her the footage of it, and you see the leopard walking, but then in the same frame, you saw the leopard walking, and then somebody comes back and she's like, that's Grace. And I had literally, to be honest with you guys, forgot all about Grace. So we're gonna keep it pushing. All right, next you guys, we see Anissa. She's at the bar, and Jamila Olsen comes up to her, and she's flirting with her. And Jamila is the reporter. Anissa thought she was, trying to get a story out of her. She was like, "No, I'm just trying to shoot my shot at you." So then, Anissa asked her, "So you're a reporter. So how do you find a person that doesn't want to be found?" Well, the answer to that question is you really don't find someone that doesn't want to be found, because they go to great lengths and great measures to make sure that you can't find them. So then we see those two. They make it back to a hotel room and they getting busy. I'm like, Anissa got a lot of game. So then once they finish having sex, they connect over the fact that they both are lonely. Because Anissa, she misses Grace. But her and Grace weren't even together that long, were they? I don't remember. And then, what's her name? Jamila tried to tell Anissa what the people think, what the people of Freeland think. She's like, I thought reporters go off of facts and not rumors. She's like, ha, touche. Oh, wow. There's some hair. That's interesting that a piece of hair doesn't grow right there. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just looking at my beard. That was really weird. That it looked like a patch is missing, but it's not. It's just that nothing grows right there. Nothing. It's so weird. Everything is right here, but then nothing. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna stop. We gonna move on. So Anissa gets a call, and I'm pretty sure that call is about Jennifer. So then we see Jefferson. He's walking about in the hallways, and he's looking below. Like I said before, he could see Issa. Now he can see Tobias. And when he sees Tobias, it's like I don't know if it was a red energy around Tobias. And then he tells Lynn, without his suit, he was normally never able to see through. But now with all these experiments they've been doing on him, he's able to see through. And she asks him, well, what about Issa? He says, Issa's fine. And she says, well, what about Tobias? He says, Tobias is not looking that good. It looks like Tobias is probably going to die anytime soon, which I'm here for Tobias dying. But Tobias is old as hell anyways. So without all that genetically, all that stuff that Tobias was doing to himself, shooting himself up, Tobias is, dying of old age. So, she says, Lynn says she wants to see Ethan. Jefferson's like, I don't think that's a good idea. And I have to say I agree with him. So then we see Issa. He's talking to Tobias and he's asking him about the briefcase. Where's the briefcase? Tobias says, I don't know. And then we see that Odell is in Issa's ear. He says, ask him again. So he asked him again. He's like, so when is the last time you saw the briefcase? He says, it was when that bitch Thunder was whooping his ass. And, he says, so what's in the briefcase? He says, I don't think you want to know what's in that briefcase. Odell says, ask him again. What's in the briefcase? He says, it is information on Odell. He had 3 missions that he had to complete. One was he had to come to Freeland and get the metahumans. Number 2 was he had to turn the metahumans into weapons. And number 3 was he had to eliminate anybody that knew about this that could link him to the president of the United States. I'm like, oh, so the president is behind this. So this all makes sense. Like, why Odell has been doing all that he's been doing, because he's a shady person. He's trying to cover his tracks as well as the president's tracks. So then I'm just gonna jump ahead a little bit. Well, actually, no, I'm not gonna jump ahead. So, because I didn't put this in the notes, I forgot about this. So, Issa, he's in his room, he's playing a video game, and Odell comes into the room. He's like, so, did you come here to kill me? He says, I did. And then, they're talking, and he says, so can you read minds? He's like, I just kind of figured that you were coming here to kill me. So Odell leaves the room. He's like, I thought you were coming here to kill me. He says, I did. And he points to his food. He poisoned me, boy. I cannot wait for Lynn and Jefferson to find out what Odell is really up to and hope that they kill Odell. I just want Odell. I want them to get rid of Odell and Carson, because there's just something off about Carson as well. I don't know what it is. So I feel like Carson is going to be our villain this season. I don't know that 100%, but I just feel like Carson is going to be our villain, as well as Odell, lurking in the shadows. Lurking in the shadows. All right, so then we see Jennifer. So Jennifer is at a pizza shop, and then a guy walks up to her, and he's flirting with her, and he's talking to her. So they go for a little walk, and then Anissa pulls up, and she's like, get in. And he looking like, I know what he was thinking, like, wait a minute, why is this black girl telling this Asian girl to get in the car? So, she gets in the car, and she says, turn off that cloaking device. So that's what it is. Gamby gave them a cloaking device, and, it was, I don't know what it's supposed to be used for. But Anissa, not Anissa, but Jennifer's just telling her like her powers are growing inside of her, and they hurt because when she does not use them. I'm like, damn, I would imagine that those powers do hurt. And she tells Jen, like, Jen, you gotta stay put, because we don't know what Odell is doing with Mama and Daddy. So we gotta stay put. So then we see Odell once again. He's lying to Lynn, and he tells her, because I guess at this point she knows that Issa's dead. And she's like, well, can I go see him? He says, yeah, you can go see him before I turn him over to his family. And then we see Anissa. She is escorting the Metas, through the hole that, Gamby came up with the ASA. And then, Jennifer tells him, like, you guys might want to watch out, because there are people that are coming. So Anissa does fight those people, and then as she tries to get through the opening, one of the guys blasts her, and she flies through it. So then we see Jennifer. Jennifer wants to go out there and help Anissa in her suit, but Gammy tells her, no, you cannot do that. Like, Anissa's okay. Well, we don't know that she's okay, but we have to play this by ear. Like, if we don't hear from Anissa by tomorrow, then you and I will come up with a plan of action. So then Odell lastly tells Lynn that, I guess the Markovians are trying to attack her and her family, and that the only way that she and her family are safe is with him. And I'm like, bullshit. And then we lastly see that Lala is alive. I'm like, Lala, which I knew he was alive, but I can't remember where we last saw Lala in season 2. But you guys, that was the opening episode of Black Lightning season 3. Love the episode. Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Leave your comments. Like the video. Share it. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification button so you guys know when I drop anything. And I will see you guys later.